Ready? All right, I'm James Offerman with covering the MLG Spring Championship with RTSGuru.com. And here we are today with Travis Gafford, who's an eSports personality. He has worked a lot with League of Legends, and today he's down here with GameSpot and covering the event. Now, this has been the biggest event for MLG Anaheim in the history of MLG. Is this the biggest MLG tournament, or is this just the biggest MLG Anaheim one?
I'm fairly certain that this is going to end up being the biggest MLG. I mean, we haven't heard all the numbers yet, but that's what they expect. I mean, from my experience, I have never seen crowds this big, especially for League of Legends. This is probably the biggest North American event outside of the World Championships and World Finals that we saw in the fall. So it's been fantastic to see everybody here. But it's definitely been huge.
Do you think that the one thing they could improve is the carpet flooring on this place? I mean, it is ridiculous. My feet are killing me, man. Now, we're on day 3 of this event, and are you as tired as I am? I mean, it's exhausting.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird. I go into this weird state whenever I go to these conventions or these big events where I don't sleep at all, because the thing people don't really realize is that you go and you cover and you work all day, and then afterwards everybody wants to go out, and everyone's exhausted, but they do it anyway. So you don't sleep, then you come to the event, and just like the adrenaline pumps through you. Whenever I first went to MLG Providence, that was my first event that I worked in 2011. I just realized, like, wait, I've gotten like less than 8 hours of sleep consecutively across 3 days, like all added together, and somehow just like the energy, the excitement, everything fuels me. So yeah, you go into this weird mode, but I'll be dead on Monday for sure. So I'll just be crashing out in my room and hibernating for the full 24 hours to get back.
Now, I'm jealous with you there, because I have to actually go to work at 8 a.m. on Monday, and today I've got to drive back the 7 hours to my. So I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I'm living on coffee right now. Now, luckily in the fact that I don't drink, so it helps at night. These guys go out, they do their partying thing, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to bed. I need to sleep.
Yeah.
But it's only like you get home, and then like I have all this work that I want to look through. I'm trying to, you want to work on other stuff, and this event for me, this is my very first event, very first ever gaming convention type event, and I am excited. I mean, this is incredible. I've been able to talk to so many players, the Curse guys, and to see how fans react to them. And like you said, I mean, this is the biggest MLG event that we know so far. And it has been crazy. We saw Dwight Howard with the Call of Duty crowd, and those guys, and it has been amazing. Now, some of these games have been incredible in League side. Now, you do a lot of League work. Do you like working with the other games as well, or is it mainly League and StarCraft and those type?
It's mainly League. I follow StarCraft still. I know Naniwal just won his game, which is pretty cool. It's nice to see him doing well. But mostly my stuff is League of Legends. That's sort of what I follow. But still, it's been fantastic. The League games have been incredible as well. So.
Yeah. For those of you guys who haven't seen the things that the game you really want to see right now in the Challenger circuit is the Curse Academy versus who do they face?
It was FXO yesterday. Yes.
Versus FXO. It was it's probably about 3 hours long.
Yeah.
It was the most incredible back and forth amateur game I have ever seen. And that was the moment that I looked at that and I realized, man, esports has like this amazing ability in the future. Now, and especially the amateur circuit where the games are much more fast-paced. For you personally, do you like the amateur circuit a lot more than the pro? I mean, the pros have so much skill, but the amateur has so much more action, at least in my point.
So, I mean, it really depends. Like a lot of the LCS games, the pro games, you'll see some really crazy action. The CLG Cloud9 matchup was pretty fantastic, but it's true that like the Challenger scene definitely has some interesting things, because whenever people aren't playing at that top level, they're still playing close to it. Sometimes the mistakes themselves can make for really interesting moments in the game, and just sort of seeing how the team is able to take advantage of the mistakes that the other team is making. So yeah, I mean, I still probably prefer watching the LCS games specifically over the Challenger, but it has been fantastic here to see some great Challenger games, and really excited to see just sort of like more attention going to that scene right now.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I'm more of a casual gamer, so the Challenger circuit for me is like this exciting event because, like you said, I mean, they make a lot more mistakes. There are a lot more, guys trying to push on the mode, and each one of these guys are playing to try and get into the LCS at some time. I mean, that's their goal, is to be in that LCS with all the big guys. And I think. We saw, but the only thing that makes a difference is like when I saw the pro game, the Curse Gaming, when they blew their first match of the game in the LCS. Like as soon as they pushed down and they took out the bottom turret, not the bottom turret, but the bottom turret and the bottom inhibitor. Like everybody knew, like in the crowd, that the game was over. That Curse had just lost the game. And like, because immediately Velocity went up, took the Baron and ran and pushed and took out the game was over. Like everybody knew, they started clapping immediately because they knew the game was over. And I was like, for a new player, I was like, oh, the game's already over. Like he hasn't beaten it yet. But that's the skill level that these guys are at. That you make one big mistake like that, and the game is over. I mean, you think that's a really important part for the esports world and just the gaming in general. That's something that different everybody knows right away what happens.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty cool. Like I wouldn't say. I mean, there's always going to be like that last minute thing, something that'll just occur that'll surprise people. But it is pretty cool to sort of see the teams getting to the point in time where, yeah, you can sort of see like, oh wow, they're really behind, and it's going to be hard for them to come back at this point in time, and the game might be already over just because they were able to sort of place aggressively or make that play at the bottom, take the inhibitor, and follow it up with a Baron. So it is pretty neat to be able to see just how far the teams have come and how skilled they are.
Yeah, for me, one of the coolest things that and learning the game is that you come to a point where like every time, like 20 minutes in the game, we thought the game was over, Curse had won, and then Velocity made an amazing comeback. They took the Baron, they made a comeback, they really pushed, and the whole time we're standing there and we're standing next to one of the Curse managers, and he's like, oh man, they better take it out. Oh no, because he thought because you have these brief windows of time,
right.
and I think like you have like 30 seconds to make your move. Take it down when you kill off, when you do a triple kill or you take down 3 guys, and that's a big, very cool thing. I mean, I think that's what helps the future of esports. I think that's what's one of the things that makes the game grow.
Yeah.
And not only that, you can actually watch, you can understand what's going on. For a player who doesn't know much about the game, like I don't know all the skills, like I can look at it and follow and see who's winning and who's losing.
Yeah.
Do you think that's what makes esports so popular, or for you, what is it that makes League of Legends so popular in the esports world?
Oh, there's not one thing specifically. There's so many things, right? The personalities of the players, you can look at some people can love Doublelift or hate Doublelift, or love Reginald or hate Reginald. You have like the game itself, which is incredibly fun and really tailored towards esports. It creates a very competitive environment. You have this ecosystem coming about right now where you're seeing all these different teams that can sort of figure out how they're going to get better, and you can sort of follow their track and see them improve over the course of the season. I think it's just, there's a lot of different reasons why League of Legends esports in particular is very popular right now. But either way, I'm very happy that it is, just because it's so enjoyable for me to watch.
Oh, it's incredible, and it's amazing to me that so many of these teams now are no longer just teams of guys who are hanging around having fun together.
Yeah.
There's team housing now. We talked to Team Coast yesterday. Yeah. They just got a house. They have their own team house. They're flying everybody in. They're moving everybody, all 5 players. I mean, it's incredible to me that this is the level we're at now, where you have owners who are purchasing teams, paying these guys to play games 6 to 8 months, and it was unheard of 5 years ago. I mean, this is like groundbreaking in the terms of, and for RTSGuru and FPSGuru.com and MMORPG, all these, they don't know how, like this is a new thing, everyone's blown away. We're like, well, where do we go from here? I mean, how do we cover these events? Do we cover them like it's a sport? Do we cover, I mean, and that's the future. I mean, this is one of the futures of sporting events, is that there's going to be less, because it is an athletic endeavor. We were talking to some of the other day. These guys have a 10-year window in which they're really, really good.
Yeah.
From about 16 to about 26, and after that, there's that kind of fall off in terms of total skill, and then they become coaches, like Elements, and they're good players. But they know and they understand, look, I don't have the ability to fast twitch response at the level of these 15-year-olds clicking it.
Right,
so.
exactly, yeah.
And for me, that this is, do you think that's a good thing, that you pretty much only have a 10-year window before it kind of goes up and down? I mean, how's your feeling on?
I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just sort of the state of affairs right now. Like, I think it's nice that it allows for new players to come up, and sort of see new faces, that kind of thing. And then there's always that, is there going to be the young up-and-comer that's going to take them out? So, it's very similar to professional sports, athletic sports.
You're right,
but, it's just a shortened thing. Obviously, guys can play for longer there. But, it's really interesting to sort of see how that plays out.
Yeah, with League of Legends, it's a little different than StarCraft in that, once you get past a certain age, your fast twitch responses are just not the same anymore. Yeah. You can still be good, you can still succeed within a team, but you may have to change your role. You may not be able to be the pusher anymore. You have to roll to more of a support role or something that allows you to more to directing and command and captain. So now, who's your favorite player right now, man?
So I don't really have a favorite player, which I know is like sort of the cop out everybody always thinks. They ask me for a favorite team, favorite player, and I legitimately don't, just because for myself I like to play support. That's sort of what I tend to play. I very much enjoy it, but But I mean, just sort of going back to the player and the team thing, the cool thing about the LCS and about all these guys here is that pretty much all of them are really cool guys, really enjoyable, really good friends with all of them. I'm very close to Double Lift. People tend to sort of be familiar with that story, but yeah, I mean, overall, it's just great to see all the different teams play. And I root more for the storylines for anything else. So like if Cloud9 is going undefeated for a long time and somebody can come up and take them out, that's kind of fun. So those are the things I'm more interested in generally than just like a favorite team winning everything.
Now, when you're support, you like support roles. So there's a lot of clutch plays that support players play, and I think we were talking the other day. One of our cameraman here is a huge support fan, and he was talking about how like the support game right now is it's in such a unique state because there's no gear for support. Like they buy the shoes and they buy like one other item, and then they spend the rest of their money on like probes and stuff like that to drop down. Do you think that's a fine state of the game, or do you think that it'd be better if League kind of put in a little bit more support gear?
Well, with Season 3, they did add some more of the active items for support, which is kind of cool. But it is true that they have a very different itemization path than a lot of different roles. But it's kind of cool. I mean, it provides a little bit of uniqueness to that role, and like. It is kind of nice to have the person on the team that's able to sort of provide the utility stuff through different items like the awards and more utility-oriented items. So, I don't know, it's very fun. I like that.
Now, who's your favorite hero?
Favorite hero, favorite champion? Probably Leona. Yeah. Hero, champion, it's all the same. But Leona is probably the champion that I tend to play the most. In fact, Riot Games nice enough to send out some little Teemo statues and pictures that were signed by the president to some of the community figures. They sent me one, and it had Leona on it, which is really cool. That's probably the champion I played the most in Season 2, so it's really nice of them to shoot that over my way. But yeah, I'd probably say Leona's my favorite.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now is there any game out there that you think is close enough right now to also moving into this type of server with COD, StarCraft? I know a lot of people are excited about Dawngate coming out. We saw the thing earlier today about PlanetSide 2, the 48 on 48 on 48.
Right.
Did that blow you away, the 48 on 48? Like, I have no idea how that'll work, like in an esports realm, but that's a lot of people to watch play at one time. Have you even had a chance to play PlanetSide at all?
I have not had a chance to play PlanetSide. I don't know. I mean, it's really nice to see developers supporting esports more and more. I think what's interesting for me to see, because I don't think that every game can be an esport, and even with support, like, it might not necessarily be successful. So it's interesting to me to look at PlanetSide and see them trying a different path. See like Infinite Crisis, who's sort of going like the main map that they've put out so far is very Dominion oriented. Which is a little bit different from what you tend to see in the typical like League of Legends side, instead of the tri-lane map. So it's just been kind of neat to see all these different developers sort of going for it, and I'm really interested, like a year, 2 years, 3 years from now, what actually ends up sort of showing up on one of these big stages at MLG with a huge crowd in front of it and a bunch of fans and pro players and support. So
now I'm an RPG fan. I play MMORPGs. Do you think there's one on the market right now that's pretty close to being in there?
It's
a hard thing to get in from an RPG type of a standpoint. I mean, we know because WoW tried it for a while, and they had a successful base. They still have their BlizzCon, but it's not quite as big as it once was.
Right.
And that just a lot of it's due to balancing issues. But there's a few out there that are coming out, or there are ones that are out there now. I mean, is there one that you look at and go, okay, this one has a slightly possible chance?
There's so many, like Diablo 3. There's a lot of companies I've noticed that are sort of going in for like the Diablo 3 alternative, because a lot of people were somewhat disappointed in that. And I've noticed that a lot of them are trying to sort of create like more competitive arenas and battles. I think that there's the potential for that. I don't know if I see any right now that are specific that I expect to sort of take the path that like League or StarCraft has, but I definitely think that there's potential for something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it would be an interesting, because then you would give you 3 different styles of play up there, and so I'm a Guild Wars 2 fan. I like to play it, so. But yeah, I mean, they're still a good distance away from being where they need to be.
Right.
So like all the games and stuff out there, like this environment isn't crazy. Like I'm down here and I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, this is why everybody wants to be here. I mean, this is the reason we see the excitement, we see the fans behind it, we see, and for guys like you and me, we're personalities in this world. We know that we're not the great players. We can't do that. We kind of like stay inside. We cheer them on. We promote them. We talk about how good it is. And what's always surprised me is how eager these players is to help other players.
Yeah.
I mean, that has to be the biggest thing. I think a lot of times we'll go up and I'll talk to some of these guys, and like they don't they're so busy playing that they don't realize how many, sometimes it kind of blows them away as to how big a fan thing is. I mean, that for me, that's the most amazing part about esports, is just the world that it's in. It's its own separate niche right now, but it's getting ready to explode. Within the next year or two, I mean, we may see 500,000 or 600,000 people viewing and watching it at one time. I think they had 250,000 watch the first day.
I'm sure it's ridiculous.
I mean, and so I think there are numbers and goals that everyone's looking forward to doing. So, is there anybody you want to thank for being or promote, or what's your Twitch, your Twitter, your stream, or something that people can talk?
Sure, yeah. So people can follow me on Twitter at SOTLTravis. Obviously, a lot of the coverage that we're doing here, or all of the coverage we're doing here, is going to be up on GameSpot.com/esports. And overall, people just they can always find me on the League of Legends subreddit. All my content ends up going up there, and so just keep an eye out there, and you'll see that stuff.
Okay, so one last question before we go. Who's been your favorite interview so far?
My favorite person to interview?
Yeah.
I have at this specific event. Generally, people know that I do pretty good interviews with Doublelift. Those are ones that people really look forward to. But I very much have missed interviewing Prawley from Complexity since they dropped out of the LCS. And I had the opportunity to interview him again as well yesterday, and it sort of brought back a lot of memories from whenever he was in the LCS. So it's been fantastic to see him, and really enjoyed that interview. I'd recommend people check it out.
Okay, and for all your State of the League fans, when's it coming back?
State of the League. I am working on it. As I've said previously, it's very frustrating whenever, or not frustrating, but it's frustrating because I really want to bring it back. It's sort of the thing I was known for, and it's obviously been on hiatus. It was able to do the All-Star one, but I think that there are things in the works. I hope it'll come back soon. So soon, TM.
And that's what we call the great non-committal answer. My name is James Offerman. I'm with RTSGuru.com. We're here at the MLG Spring Championship. I want to thank Travis here for being with us and meeting with us, and we'll look forward to seeing this on RTS Guru or wherever they decide to put it. We'll talk to y'all later. Thank you.